So I'm preparing to go live on YouTube via Zoom. I'm so glad that they have this on there now. I don't even know when they added it, but this is really, really wonderful for me. So I'm guessing that this is live stream is now working. I hope so. And I am trying to, yeah, so it is still working. So I'm going to turn off the video so that it's not. All right, so this should still be working. Hopefully, this is the first time I'm doing my live stream from my car. So welcome to the Plant Your Seeds of Transformation podcast. I'm Coach Donna Marie, and the reason for this podcast is to support you with your journey as you look for real change in your life from the inside out. On the last episode, which is episode 1 for season 4, I discussed all of the, I kind of discussed past videos and what it means to plant your seeds of transformation. What does transformation mean? We talked about the fact that in the first 3 seasons, we really hit this topic of perfectionism and why it's toxic. We talked about that a lot with guests, as well as some videos with just me. I also have a newsletter at Medium at medium.com/plant your seeds of transformation. If you do want to support us, you can go to plantyourseeds.show to see the donation area there, or you can join our Patreon, which is again patreon.com/plant your seeds of transformation. So if you would like to support the show, would love to have your support. Definitely, this is a labor of love for me. Nobody sponsors it or pays for it. I do have some affiliate partnerships that I'm going to be reviewing this year and see if I'll continue to do those or not, because I don't think any of those have paid out. Maybe one last year. But yeah, so it's a Monday morning. I did not plan this live. I wanted to make sure that even if I don't have a consistent schedule that I can announce for you, that I still get on here anyway. I am letting go of perfectionism with my podcast. I would love to have a consistent schedule and be able to tell y'all I'll be on XYZ, I'll be on live XYZ day at XYZ time. But because of my caregiving responsibilities, my life is a bit more unpredictable right now. And I am trying to make sure that I'm fully present so that I can be the best help that I can be. So I've had to make some adjustments to my time, to my way of doing things to ensure that I can be as perfect as possible with that, because that's somebody else's life. And I made some mistakes because I was spread too thin in other places. So I've had to pull back from some things so that I can focus and be the help that I'm needed to be at this time. So in terms of this podcast, when I can fit it in, I get it in. That's where we're at right now. And when I can get to where I can release some type of schedule, I will do so. So for those of you who have not listened in the past, please go to plantyourseeds.show to learn more about the show, to see past episodes, to look at the past guests that have shared about their stories or the way that they support, women leaders, Black women leaders. Most of the focus for our audience is towards, basically, we really want to support Black women leaders who have survived trauma or crises, and they are traumas or crises, and they are working to recover and move forward in their lives. Those are the people that I'm speaking because that's who I am. And I'm a high achieving Black woman leader. I believe that it's important to have goals that you go after, and it's important to not beat yourself up if you don't achieve those goals the same way you thought you were going to achieve them, or even not at all, if you shift goals. There is nobody standing over you with a whip making you do or not do anything. And yeah, I did use that slavery reference. We are not in slavery. We are free people. We make our own choices. If you're choosing to take a path or not to take a path, that's up to you. Nobody can make you do or not do anything. If you're overwhelmed taking that path or not taking that path, if you're feeling guilty or regret for not doing something, or if you're overwhelmed while you're doing it, you may need some time to recover, to regroup, to do things in a different way, or not do it at all. Give yourself permission to make adjustments, make course corrections. Give yourself permission to be human. There is nothing wrong with making adjustments as needed. I'll give you an example from my life. In 2017, the spring of 2017, I got accepted to a graduate school program, and I began taking my graduate school classes. I was full-time. Within a year, a little bit less than a year after that, my husband became fully disabled and was no longer able to work. I continued unsuccessfully to try to do full-time schoolwork. That didn't work. And could have killed myself in the process, literally, because I was not sleeping or taking care of myself properly at all. And I wasn't doing a good job taking care of him or anybody else because I was just totally stretched way, 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 way too thin. So I had to pivot. I had to start taking my classes part-time. It took me 4 years to finish a degree that I should have taken 2. And that's okay. I graduated in December of 2021. Woohoo! Okay. I graduated. I got the degree. Had to do a lot of pivoting during that time because I had become my husband's caregiver. But I did what I had to do. We made the pivots. We got help eventually, for a period of time. And, that's what had to be done. There's nothing wrong with making adjustments. As a matter of fact, you should always have contingency plans. It's okay to make a plan and then have a plan B. I hear people kind of preaching about there is no plan B. If you can't just go for it, then why even bother doing it? I don't believe in that mess. Not for Black women leaders. We have many roles in our lives. Many of us are sandwich generation people. We're taking care of elderly parents and of children. We're taking care of a loved one of some sort, even if it's not a parent. It could be a different family member or even a friend. We're taking care of other people in addition to our own children. When you're wearing many hats like that, and you love and really love and are devoted to and care for your people, you're not going to drop them to pursue your goals. But you also don't have to completely sacrifice your goals because of your family and your loved ones. So therefore, it's okay to pivot. It's okay to have a plan B. You should have a plan B. Give yourself permission to do whatever the heck you got to do in the way you got to do it. These white men that get on their platforms and discuss how they've become successful and all of that, I guarantee you, they are not caregiving for anybody. They have a wife or a partner or somebody in their family raising their kids. They can go after their goals and be totally focused and not do anything else and not take any, not have any plan Bs, just go straight into plan A. They don't have the same kind of life that you have. And when I finally recognized that, I stopped listening to all those free webinars. And, still, even recently, I got Grant Cardone sent me something. I think it was through Instagram, popped up. I was curious. So I got in there and I started listening. I'm like, this is not for me. Unsubscribed. I just got out of that, within 30 minutes, I think, of listening. This is not for me. There are people that just cannot advise you properly because they're not in your shoes. Now, you can chew the meat and spit out the bones. You can learn some things, absolutely. But to create the framework that you need that aligns with your schedule, your finances, all of that, you need to be around people like you that get you and that can give you better advice that's more in alignment with who you are. And so I have really pulled back from all those free. I used to listen to pretty much a free webinar every single day, just about. I won't lie. I have so many free resources that I saved up in my digital files over. It's been since about 20. It was probably about 2007 when I first started getting online and learning about online business and things like that. So many digital files, some of which I actually did read or listen to or watch, many of which I never got around to. I had to decide to stop hoarding digital products. I had to decide to stop focusing in on all these people who kept promising, oh, I can teach you how to get to 6 figures in your business. It's almost a trigger for me at this point to see advertisements like that, because they don't walk in my shoes. These young white girls, they do great marketing. They've got some great things that they put out there, but they don't live the kind of life that I live. And there's only so much that I can get from listening to them. And so I've had to cut that stuff off because it actually can become discouraging when you're continuing to listen to programs and systems and learn about tools. You go and get your free trial, you forget to cancel the free trial and you get charged money. And been there so many times. And so you start trying to do things the way they tell you to do things, and it doesn't work because it doesn't fit. It doesn't align with who you are. Now, the other thing that happened when I used to do marketing as my business, I closed that business down and I don't do that business anymore. But when I used to do that business, one of the main things that would bother me was the way marketing was taught as a predatory practice. That didn't align with my heart and my soul. And eventually, I just left the marketing space altogether, not just because I wasn't making money with it. Every time I turned around, one of my friends had become a competitor for my business. Like, I literally had someone who had a completely different business. All of a sudden, she's doing the same business I'm doing. And so I had to make a decision for myself to focus on what I really wanted, which is I'm a natural born teacher. And now I am a certified trained coach. I am a teacher, and a coach is not a teacher. A coach does not use a teaching system, even though a coach may teach at some points during coaching. But a coach does not use a teaching system. It's a very specific system of leading and guiding and providing a framework for your client to be able to get from point A to point Z with whatever goal they're working on. But I am a natural born teacher. So this podcast and my Medium newsletter, those are the places where I share because I want to help you to kind of dig a little deeper on some of the things that you need to get a good foundation laid out for, so that you can get past the trauma and thrive. So you can survive and thrive. I can't help, I'm not a therapist. I can't help you deal with the past, with any emotional things or even psychological things that might be going on. That's not my job. But I can help you understand what you can do once you started recovering emotionally, psychologically. There are some practical things you can do, and I shared about that in the last video. I'm not going to get deep into those details in this video. For this video, I wanted to encourage you, don't give up on your dreams just because you have a lot of responsibilities outside of your work. If you're caregiving for a loved one, if you're a parent of whatever age children, because all children need you, even if they're adults, they will always need you. So whatever age they are, you will still be their parent. You will still make decisions to help benefit and help them and be a blessing to them. You have to make sure that you don't give up on your dreams and your visions because of that. And I'm preaching to myself, right? You all, if you're familiar with my story, you know that I'm a caregiver to a mentally ill adult child, young adult child, who has asked me for my help. And so the process of making sure that she creates and fortifies her safety plan is daunting. There's a lot to be done. And I'm so grateful that I had this opportunity to help her. But it is a lot, and it can be overwhelming, especially if I am not focused. That doesn't mean I'm giving up on my dreams. It just means that I've had to make some pivots, and I'm good with that. And I wanted to encourage you, whatever changes or adjustments you need to make, whatever extra help you need to get, do what you got to do. There's no shame in that. You know what you need. You are an adult. You're an adult. You can make your own decisions. Nobody can do that for you. And nobody should be trying to pressure you to do what they just want you to do. If you're around people that just want to try to tell you what to do all the time, but they're not helping, come on now. Don't allow that. Set those boundaries and reaffirm those boundaries as needed. It's so important for you to protect your life, your mental space, your money, everything, your belongings. It's so important for you to set those boundaries. I did recommend a book, I believe on the blog or on previous episodes. It's called Boundaries by a man named Henry Cloud. Highly recommend it. I think I gave you the right name. I'll see if I can put everything in the show notes. I think I gave you the right name. I know the book is called Boundaries, and I think the name is Henry J. Cloud, but I will put it in the show notes for sure at plantyourseeds.show, just to make sure that you can find it and that is correct. That's one of the books on boundaries. There's also one by a Black female therapist, Wadid. Gosh, I wish I could remember her name right now. I think I can find her name real quick, y'all. I want to find her name because this was a new book that I just got and I haven't finished reading it yet, but it was good. I think it's Talia Wajid. I think she has a book on, she makes hair care products, but she also has a book about, I think it's about setting boundaries with your family. And like what I was just saying to y'all, you got people trying to tell you what to do, and I'm preaching to myself too, but they're not doing anything to help. Come on, that's not right. We have to make sure that we are giving ourselves permission to be the adults we are and not let other people infantilize us. And that's something that I've seen happen. And it makes me so sad because um, it makes me so sad to see that, because many times people will try to, and when I say people, I mean white people, usually white men, they just assume that we don't know anything, that we don't know as much as they know, or that we don't know what to do. And their advice is almost like they're trying to guide a child versus talking to a peer, right? And it's not just white people or white men that do that, but there are times when people try to infantilize you. They don't take you seriously. They don't believe you know anything. It comes from, and I would definitely say I've had to overcome this too. It's an arrogance, and it's bred into people who are scholars or who are in certain leadership spheres, and it's something that as leaders we got to let go of that arrogance and treat people with respect. Adults should be treated like adults, and don't let anybody treat you any other way. What we allow, they'll just keep doing it. So how do you set boundaries for that? I'm not going to get into that. That's something that you will have to figure out between you, your therapist, your counselors, your pastors, whoever you trust, your mentors, whoever you trust for advice and wisdom on that. If you find that that's an issue with a specific relationship or association, if you find that's a consistent issue with more than one relationship or more than one associates that you're spending time with or talking to, that's something you can work through in therapy, definitely, to figure out what's going on with that. There is a therapeutic movement called internal family systems. There are some authors who've written on this topic. It talks about the fact that in each and every person, fight or flight is just part of our nature in every single human being, actually animals too. It's just part of who we are. And that fight or flight can show up in different ways in our lives at different times. If you read about it, it'll make more sense. But what happens is there's a part of you that might want to be more protective. And then there's a part of you that might, more defensive, like, be more aggressive or defensive. And there's a part of you that might want to just run, just jump up and leave or run. You have to be able to understand yourself better so that you know why you make the choices you make without judging yourself. That's basically what it kind of boils down to. I'm simplifying it, but there are books on this topic. I'm pretty sure that I've shared about that in different spaces at different times. I'm not going to share any specific book names, but I'd say that search on Google under internal family systems, see what you can find. There are videos about it, podcasts about it. There's all kind of information about it. And if you have a therapist, ask your therapist about it. It can be very helpful to help you to care for yourself better. Yeah, that's what my therapist has been doing to help me. He's helping me to care for myself better by understanding myself better. And as I understand myself better, I also understand what I want and what I need better. And as I understand what I want and what I need better, I set better boundaries with other people. And so it's valuable. It's valuable therapeutic intervention for sure. And I'm really grateful that I've been introduced to that. But that's only one of many things that can help you. So if you have a therapist, if you don't have a therapist, and you're struggling with recovering from traumas or crises, I highly recommend that you do that. But I also highly recommend that you get a journal. And I've talked about journaling in the past, and I have journals that I sell. If you'd ever like to check those out, they're at CoachDonnaMarie.com, or you can, if you become a Patreon member, you get a copy of the journals on one of the tiers. So definitely, I recommend for you to use journaling as a way to think about things for yourself better. Think about what you want, what you need. It's important. What you want and need is important. Yeah, you care about other people too. I'm not saying you don't. You still care about other people, but what you want and need are important too. And many times, until you write that down on paper, it doesn't get real. I am a former international traveler. When I was 16, I lived in England for 8 weeks. I've dreamed of getting back to traveling internationally again, and I have not. So that's something that I aspire to do, and also to take my children. I know that international travel changed the way that I see myself and changed the way I see the world in a good way. And it made me a more open person. And I want that for my kids too. And so that's one of my dreams. I aspire to help my kids to travel internationally, not just travel, to live internationally. I lived in England for 8 weeks. I didn't just travel. And so I lived and worked. I was a volunteer. And so I would like my kids to have a similar experience, because I know how it can help you inside as a person, not just in your head, but even on a spiritual level. When you go to other places, it opens you up in ways that you can't get to staying at home, just staying in the United States. And so even though I can't necessarily do that right now, I can write down my goals, and I can break those goals down into smaller steps and work on those steps. And eventually I will get to that bigger goal. And so that's what I'm recommending for you. If you don't have a coach, I'm a coach. I'm a coach. I'm a trained certified coach. I would absolutely love to have a talk with you, see if we'd be a good fit for each other. If you would like to join my Patreon, I have an offer there for my coaching services. So if any of what I'm sharing with you is resonating with you and is helpful, you can reach out to me through CoachDonnaMarie.com. You can go to the show notes on the website at plantyourseeds.show. The show notes for this episode will be up later in the week, and I'll have more information there too. I hope that this has been helpful and encouraging for somebody. I cannot see the YouTube or the chat or anything while I'm doing this through Zoom, but I'll check and see if anybody's left comments. I hope you all have a blessed week. It's been a pleasure serving you. I hope that what I'm sharing not just helps you, but helps somebody else that you know who could use this, somebody who's recovering from traumas or crises that you believe would really benefit from this. Please pass it on. Subscribe, like,